been searching for the best way to generate passive income in your life and heard that real estate is a great way to do it. But you're tired of all the so-called gurus who are all talk and no substance. Get ready to celebrate because Kevin Bupp has spent 14 years successfully making it happen. This is the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast. Now, here's Kevin Bupp.
Hey guys, Kevin Bupp here, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast. Our mission is to help you build and maintain massive amounts of cash flow through income-producing real estate investments. Now, our guest for this week's show is multifamily investment expert and co-founder of Trident Multifamily, Mike Vann. Now, Mike's early real estate experience comes from the family construction business, where he worked his way through college and was able to gain the skills necessary to manage all aspects of construction and project management. After college, Mike entered the corporate world and has had a successful 20-plus year career in medical sales, with the last 15 spent in the medical device industry. This unique combination of skill sets served him well as he built his personal real estate portfolio while working full-time. Now, Mike currently lives in Springfield, Missouri with his wife, Aline, and their 2 children. He enjoys spending time with family, hunting, fishing, and snow skiing. And so, guys, I'm excited to bring Mike onto the show and spend some time with him here today. But before we do, just have a few quick housekeeping items I'd like to run through. First one, it's a big one, is our latest and highly anticipated mobile home park investment fund. It's actually our 3rd mobile home park investment fund. Recently went live and we're accepting capital. But I will say that space is limited and we've had a significant amount of interest in the very short period of time that it's been up and running. This is a Regulation D 506C offering, and it's open to accredited investors. And for those that don't know me, don't know my past, maybe this just happens to be the first time you're listening to the show. My team and I, we've been specializing in mobile home parks for nearly a decade. Way back before investors knew that this was a cool asset class to be in. Back then it was kind of under the radar, just unheard of niche. A lot of people kind of snubbed their nose at it. Now you got the likes of Carlyle Group, Blackstone, Apollo Group, some of the biggest PE firms in the world, investing hundreds of millions of dollars into the mobile home park, or also known as the manufactured housing space. And so if you want to learn more about partnering with our group, with our team on one of the most historically proven asset classes to date, then head over to our website, sunrisecapitalinvestors.com. You can click on the Get Started Today button and fill out the short form. That will give you access to our PPM and our offering memorandum. Again, that website, sunrisecapitalinvestors.com. Moving on here, guys, if you love what we're doing here at the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast, please subscribe to the show. That ensures that you are notified whenever we have a new episode that goes live. But also, if you haven't done so already, and again, so long as you love what we're doing here and it adds value to you in your business, please take a moment to rate and review the show. It really helps us attract awesome guests such as Mike on. So please do that if you haven't done so already. And then lastly, before we get rolling here, guys, I want to remind you of the free 30-minute phone call that I offer each and every Friday afternoon. I typically set aside 2 to 3 minute 30-minute time slots where I jump on the phone with you, the listeners, and talk about everything and anything related to real estate investing. I've been doing this now for basically the entire time I've been doing this podcast. So going on 7 years now, and I've spoken to hundreds of you. This is just a way for me to connect and get to meet a lot of new people that share the same passion for real estate investing. So go to my website, kevinbupp.com, to schedule that free call with me. And now, guys, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our guest for today's show, Mike Vann. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Great, Kevin. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, excited to have you here, man. So you are in Springfield, Missouri. We were just talking about that, and the weather's changing a little bit up there. You guys are probably seeing some leaf color change, right? You're getting that beautiful spectrum, which we do not get here in Florida. We don't really have season here in Florida. It goes from hot as hell to a weirdly cold because it's only ever gets like 50 degrees. But in Florida, we wear sweatshirts and boots and everything else when it's 50 degrees outside.
Right. That's dark weather here.
What's that?
That's shorts weather here.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm from Pennsylvania, so I'm very well aware of how much of a wimp I've turned into since I lived here in Florida. But in any event, I love every bit of it. But Mike, for those folks that aren't familiar with you, your background, what it is you do, maybe take a few minutes and just tell us a little bit more about yourself. Kind of where you got your start and how you found your way into multifamily investing.
Yeah. So, like a lot of people, I started out investing in just single family homes, and actually my very first property was a duplex. But the way I got into real estate investing is once I was in the medical sales, I had a little discretionary income, and I always knew that real estate was a good investment, but really didn't know much about it or how to do it until one day I got one of those phone calls and dodged a potential layoff that was pharmaceutical industry is known for. And that gave me a wake up call to start getting educated and take action. And so started out with driving for dollars, found a duplex, built it up from there, and built it into what it is today.
And what is it today? Give us an idea. You shortened, the whole story a great deal from buying a few personal investments to buying much larger multifamily assets. So please add some additional context for the listeners.
There's a few details in between, but yeah. So, for 15 years roughly, spent that time, buying smaller assets, small multifamily, bought a package of single family homes from another investor. And I did that primarily just to really offer folks a true opportunity to get home ownership. We did the contract for deed, and we didn't do it where I resisted at first because I did not want to be one of those guys who just churned down payment money and took advantage of people. I really wanted to help people. That's, I've got a heart for missions and helping people. And that was one of the things I wanted to do through that program. And we actually converted 5 people out of the package of 10 homes I bought, converted 5 people into permanent home ownership and got them financed through a bank.
Wow.
So that was one of the forays along the way. And, just kind of plugged and plotted along there over the past, 15 years or so. And that's the thing about having a good W-2 is you're comfortable, and somewhat my sense of urgency wasn't quite there. Mm-hmm. Where I hear a lot of people now today, they go from, having a W-2 to quitting their job in 36 months, something like that. And I like my job. I like helping people, and I get to do a lot of that. And so it's taken me a little bit more time and drew it out. But, another one of those phone calls happened a few years ago, and decided in 2017, decided it was time to scale beyond that and really, get to where my end goal wanted to be, which was doing replacing my income with real estate and moving into that full time.
Okay, fantastic. And just that's some additional context there regarding the smaller investments that you made over, the span of, I think you said 15 years or so before buying some larger multifamily properties. Was that all with your own capital, or did you have partners that you brought in?
No, all my own capital. Okay. I had some stock options that I had accumulated and cashed those in, and got a few bonuses and saved those up, and bought a few deals. I got my first did some flips and so forth early on. 2010 was my first foray into multifamily, larger multifamily, what I call larger anyway at the time, which was 16 unit bank owned property. And that was that was the biggest property I'd ever bought at that point. And it was really scary, I'll tell you. But yeah, got a heck of a deal on that. And that really, when I sold that in 2017, did a 1031 into a 55 unit apartment complex that I own myself. And, that's the biggest single asset that I own on my own.
Okay, fantastic. And we're also going to touch on here today just your ability to maintain a W-2 position, which you're still employed. You, as you mentioned, you enjoy your job. At some point, I'm sure that you'll probably find a bandwidth issue where there's some stunted growth on your real estate side that is directly attributed to having to still show up for work every day, right? And actually, not necessarily physically show up, but you have to be present. You're still probably on Zoom calls and still doing your thing with doctors. I'm guessing you're probably in hospitals or doctors' offices, a great deal, what have you. So at some point in time, there will be a bandwidth issue because we all have a finite amount of time in the day. And at some point there becomes a barrier. But in any event, it's very impressive that you've been able to build what you've built while still, again, maintaining a full-time job and a family. So let's not forget about the family, which is a full-time job in and of itself.
Yes, absolutely.
So talk to me about Yeah, no, it's probably, that's the family with the kids is probably 2 full-time jobs, and you got a third full-time job, your W-2, and then you just added the fourth one to the mix with the
Right.
multifamily.
Right.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about some of the growing pains that you experience going from just being a solo investor till the year of 2017 when you guys formed Trident Multifamily and really started looking at those bigger assets. So not only were you looking at a very different grade of asset, but you're also throwing in the mix raising outside capital from high net worth individuals. And also, just a very different caliber of asset overall. I mean, it's a very different animal than that of a 50 unit or 16 unit or a duplex, right? And so, what were some of the big challenges? Well, and one of the other ones is partners now, right? You didn't have partners before, so now you bring two additional partners into the mix, which you didn't have to deal with in the past, your wife. But other than that, you probably ultimately made a lot of the decisions and didn't have to really answer to anyone else other than your wife and making that financial decision. So talk about overcoming some of the challenges. What were they and how you guys overcame them?
Yeah, that is one of the things, especially having such a long solo investment career. You do get used to making all the decisions and making them quickly and decisively, and not really having to discuss and discuss and walk through them with anyone. But which can be good and bad. I mean, you make decisions on your own. You don't have someone to bounce it off of, and you can be prone to mistakes. Whereas partners give you that option. But yeah, when we met, we met through a apartment mentorship program. And the reason I joined the program is not to learn necessarily about the fundamentals of real estate, but learn about the fundamentals of real estate syndication. As you mentioned, there are a lot of moving parts, not only with financing and SEC regulation but also with operation, because they are a different animal than these smaller deals that I've been doing on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say that, I spent the first several months just networking and learning from a lot of people who were doing what I wanted to do and were at the level I wanted to be. And, did a lot of speed dating, so to speak, to find good partners. And the three of us had actually done deals with other partnership groups, with partners that we had met through this program, and learned a lot through that process. And then, we enjoyed hanging out at the networking sessions and so forth, and decided to start pursuing deals together. And when we started to work together, it's a big difference sitting around and having fun and having a beer with each other and all that. But it's a lot different whenever you get into a deal and the stress of a deal and raising capital and all that. Especially, all of us had done deals with other experienced sponsors before, but then the three of us came together to do our own deal. And that was a little scary and a little bit more stressful. But we kind of each had certain strengths and a lot of overlapping strengths as well. So we kind of divided up the task and had some accountability, with each other, and worked very well through the process. And actually reflected after that. We went into separate entities, doing our first deal as separate entities, separate LLCs, and then after that first deal, we reflected on that and decided that we worked very well together and made it formalized and created Trident at that point.
Okay. What were some of the specific, complementary skill sets that you saw in the other two partners that maybe you possessed? You guys, I'm sure there's overlap there, but I mean, normally, one can identify like with another partner, like that individual does that way better than I do. I can do it, but like I don't have an interest in being that good. And it's natural for him. Right. And like I can say with my partnership, there's one of the principal in our group, and he's much more of a right brain. He's very black and white, very much driven on the financial side. Perfection is of the utmost importance for him. Whereas me, I'm like just chucking ahead, I'm like the visionary of the group, and he's like cleaning up the pieces behind me, putting them together. Right. And so we work really well in that capacity. So what did that look like for you and your partners?
Yeah. So Carl is definitely the numbers guy, loves spreadsheets, loves analysis, and can really get into the weeds of all the details. Rodney's more the visionary. He's always been an entrepreneur and built several businesses. And so he's more the visionary and was into the capital. I, with my construction background, was more the rehab guy. I've been used to putting projects like that together. I've done a lot of my own as well, and so that was kind of my strength. But as you mentioned, we all can do a lot of the different things that it takes, but we all have our areas of expertise and preference.
Yeah, got it. And then let's talk about your investment strategy. I mean, we know multifamily. Before we started recording, you'd mentioned that you guys are heavily invested in the Tulsa, Oklahoma market. So you're looking to build some scale there. And so we have a general idea of the marketplace. But what is what type of assets? Not meaning we know multifamily, but are these heavy value add plays? Are you buying into more stabilized properties? And then also, what's the long term vision? Is it a buy, add value, improve, and then exit out in 3 to 5 years, or is it a buy and hold for a much longer period of time?
Yeah, we have kind of a twofold approach. So first is kind of the bread and butter value add, B and C class. We're trying to get more out of the C class now into more B class. But value add strategy, we like to buy stabilized properties, 85% and above occupancy. We like them ready for agency debt. We've done bridge deals before with heavier lifts, and we've done Fannie and Freddie as well. So, but typically we like them stabilized, 85% or higher occupancy, and light value add. We don't want to go in and go to studs or anything like that. Which is interesting on this new property. We have some of that, but anyway, light value add. And then another aspect that we've recently talked about, kind of rolling in, is what we term the HVCM model, the high velocity capital model. And we can get in the weeds of that if you like later, but
explain what that is, please.
So basically it's a strategy where you could have a single check investor. They come in for, typically a smaller deal, $1.5 million, $2 million check. And we go in and do a value add on a shorter term, though, 18 to 24 months, refinance and pull out 75 to 100% of the capital. And as you know, refi proceeds are tax-free, and we roll that into the next deal. We provide them a preferred return along the way. If they do have any capital left in the deal, whenever we refinance out, they retain their preferred return on that. And then if it was going to be 100% refinance, they would still retain equity ownership and get about 2 to 4% of their return on their initial capital that is no longer in the deal. They go to we roll that capital into the next deal, and over a period of time, you end up having equity in 4 or 5 deals with all your cash back in your pocket, and gaining after 4 or 5 deals, looking at 16% annualized return with no money in the deal.
Mm-hmm. Is it still possible in today's world with the amount of competition to buy assets to where you can realistically get in quality assets in good markets where you can get in and expect to get 100% of your proceeds back out in 12 to 24 months?
It's tougher than it used to be, for sure. We found one recently that we feel could qualify. We're working through that now. But yeah, very difficult. Not much more difficult than it would have been, say, 4 or 5 years ago. We've invested in some technology recently, very expensive technology, to help us find more off-market deals and direct owner type deals. And we feel that by employing that, it may feed this pipeline a little bit. Is
that CoStar or Reonomy?
No, it's called Offered. It's kind of a compilation of a lot of different metrics. Mm-hmm. It's about 10,000 different data points, and they can drill down to the neighborhood specific data and get a lot of really detailed information. And then they help go out and acquire the asset for you as kind of your acquisitions team.
Oh, gotcha. Interesting. I've never heard of that. let's talk. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I know that your background is in construction, and before we started recording, you mentioned like that's kind of one of the big skill sets that you brought to the equation was helping to manage the larger rehab projects, what have you. Speaking to the value add side of the business, how do you guys determine what improvements and how many improvements to make on any given asset as to not to over improve the asset to where you're not going to actually be realizing an additional ROI from the additional money spent?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You do have to evaluate everything, every dollar you spend on what it's going to bring back to you. And, the main thing is we want to be able to provide the same amenities that are comparable properties are providing. And if there's something that we can put in there that's unique, then we may find that would give us a leg up. Then we may add something like that. But, we try to be very cognizant and look at it just from that measure is what every dollar we spend, what's it going to bring back to us? And whether that's not necessarily, an increase in rent, but is it also meaning, your tenants are going to be happy, you're going to stay longer? Is it going to be that they, your occupancy, stays higher on average than your comparable properties do? And so there's a lot more to variables to take into account than just that extra dollar of rent.
Yeah, gotcha. What are some of the more popular amenities that bring, I guess you could say, the most bang for your buck? Like, what are the ones that you see yield the highest return on that investment? I mean, I've seen obviously dog parks are popular. I've seen the playgrounds, that's pretty traditional. The pool, barbecue area, trash valet is one. And I'm sure there's other ones that I'm not thinking of at the moment. But what are some of the bigger bang for your buck items?
Yeah, we like if there's some vacant area on the property, vacant green space, you can put in some storage units on the property. You can either build them out or bring them in. We've seen these shipping container type deals converted into storage units. We actually had a place on our property that we bought in the last year that they were just lockers basically that we were able to convert into storage for the residents. And something else too that we like, especially in the C class properties, that we got away from the coin operated laundry and brought in smart laundry systems. That's one of the amenities that these C class renters may not be able to enjoy. A lot of those types of technology type amenities are reserved for the B and A class renters, and everybody's got a smartphone nowadays. And so that's been one thing that we've really gotten a lot of bang for our buck out of is the smart laundry. And really, it wasn't even much of an investment on our part. It was more just a build out of the room itself to give it a nice finish to make the the high end laundry system pop, so to speak.
So you just do it. You do like your laundry system. You do a profit share with the vendor. They own the equipment. They share some of the profits with you, and in exchange for that, they get access to your 300 plus tenants that live in the community.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And it was nice. They used to do where they would give you a lot of rehab money for your laundry room. On a recent property I bought and did another contract, they don't do that anymore. They'll buy your old machine still, give you a little bit of a premium for them, but there was one place we got, it was about $7,500 just to rehab our laundry room, and it didn't even cost us that much to do it. So, but yeah, they were pretty competitive on getting that contract, and now not so much.
Interesting. Wonder what's changed. I've always wondered about
it on COVID
model. Yeah, everyone blames everything on COVID at this point in time. Yeah, exactly. It's baffling. We're having a meeting this morning, and we're waiting on permits up in Maryland on one of our properties. We brought like 3 homes, and they've been sitting there literally for 5 months. And it's literally just someone signing off on a permit. I mean, like, we've gone through the process a million times. It's literally just a paper pusher, and the excuse is COVID. I'm like, really? How does that have anything to do with this individual's ability to sign off on it?
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
The COVID excuse, the year of the COVID excuse.
Yep.
Anyway, not to digress here. Let's talk about property management. Do you guys, have a internal property management group? Do you outsource to a third-party firm? How do you handle your operations?
Yeah, so that is our long-term goal, is to vertically integrate and bring property management in-house. Currently, though, we do utilize third-party management, and we have a great team there in the Tulsa market, and we've been very happy with them.
Okay. Is that the first group that you've started with, and you've since been just, you've been very, very pleased with the experience, or have you gone through a property management company or two in the past?
No, we did go through one. We had one that we utilized for our first property we bought in the Tulsa MSA. And after about, it was almost 6 months, probably longer than we should have, we had just bought our second property. And within 30 days of things starting to trend the same way, we made a change and wholesale change. All of our properties in that MSA have gone to our new property manager, and phenomenal difference. I mean, night and day. And it's interesting though, because that same management company manages one of my personal properties in another market altogether, another state, and they do a phenomenal job. But so it was just in that specific market, that team was not getting it done. So I think that's probably one of the reasons that it was so hard to make the change, is because I had that personal relationship with them and kept wanting to make it work. But the old adage, hire slow and fire fast, definitely would have helped us out in this situation. So, but yeah, we're very, very good position now though.
And so at what scale does one need to be, or does TriDet need to be, in order to justify, really going deeper into the conversation of bringing it in-house and going vertical with the property management?
We figure that's between 1,000 and 1,200 units.
Okay.
Probably closer to 1,200 units. And
that's assuming that all those assets are in one given market, right? Which is where you're at now in Tulsa. Okay.
Correct. And that's why we like, the strategy we've employed, where, Tulsa happened to be the first market that TriDet got a deal in. And so we decided to scale in that market. Once we get to that, 1,000, 1,200 units, we'll be able to, take management in house. Now we're also opportunistic. We're not solely looking only in that market. We are looking in other markets as well. And once we do find an asset in another market, we'll employ the same strategy there. You utilize third party until we can get to the point where we can, hire a local team, in-house, or if it's close enough, employ a regional. And
right.
Yeah.
And in today's world, what are assets trading at? So like, a deal that you're either currently writing an offer on, or maybe one you're in contract on, C plus grade, B minus grade, what grade is the asset? And then what kind of in-place cap rate is it being sold on?
Yeah. So we have a great entry price on this asset. It was a self-managing owner, and we got a great entry price. It was about a little over a 6 cap going in, but we see potential to get that to 8+ cap pretty quickly. They haven't really kept up with market rents, and the what I alluded to earlier as far as construction, they had actually a large maintenance shop on the property that they had been using as a centralized hub for their management company. It was kind of in between of all their different assets, and they were utilizing a large part of that for warehouse space. And so we're actually going to convert it back to a small shop for the property and 4 additional 1-bedroom units.
Okay. Yeah. Great strategy. And is this property, is it Fannie or Freddie agency debt ready from day one, or?
It is. Yeah. We have Freddie debt on it, and it is about a mile and a half from our 2 other assets we bought late last year. So we'll be able to realize some scale there as well.
And how large is this asset? Just give some additional context there.
So this particular one is 102 going in, and we'll add the 4 units and make it 106. Okay. We have 174 down the street.
And your rate is somewhere in the low 3s?
It will be right at 4.
Okay.
It's 3.99.
Okay.
Because of the loan size, it was a little bit higher.
Yeah. Yeah. Still, that's good. That's 200 basis point spread going in, and the ability to achieve much greater than that, with some improvements. So that's
Yes.
pretty solid, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
Yes, it was a deal we worked on for quite a while to get it across the line.
Is that one that was brought to you by a broker, or did you guys source on your own?
It was a broker relationship we've been working with for a while. It wasn't necessarily a marketed deal. But that's kind of the way we try to do things, is get things that aren't necessarily widely marketed. And we worked a long time on our broker relationships. That's actually the way we got the one down the street. We had been working with another broker in another area, and he happened to have this deal as well, and brought it to us, and took 9 months to get the one down the street done, and close to 6 months to get this one done. So it took a lot of time, but it pays off on the back end. So
yeah, well, fantastic. Well, Mike, it's been a lot of fun, buddy. Lots of gold nuggets you share with us. Now I'd like to ask of you, if you just had one final gold nugget that you're going to leave us with here today, that might motivate and inspire our listeners here as they're progressing in their own real estate investing career. What would that one last golden nugget be, my friend?
Well, especially in today's COVID world, is stay persistent and don't give up. Like I said, both these last two deals took us 6 and 9 months to get even to an LOI stage. And so, especially with everything going on right now, keep your eyes on the prize, stay persistent, and keep trudging ahead. Don't give up.
That's great advice, my friend. And for those that want to learn more about you and your company, where's the best place to find you?
You can send me an email, mike@tridentmultifamily.com, or go onto our website, tridentmultifamily.com. Follow us on social media, LinkedIn and Facebook.
All righty. Awesome. Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Thanks again for joining us here today. And that's all we have, my friend.
My pleasure, Kevin. Thanks a lot for having me on the show.
All righty, guys. That's all we have for this week's show. So until we meet again next week, this is your host, Kevin Bupp, wishing you huge success. Take care.
Congratulations. Now you've got more of the best tricks of the trade in building massive amounts of passive income from real estate. For more amazing resources, visit realestateinvestingforcashflow.com, and we'll see you next Monday morning.